Hi, this is Suzanne in Ohio. Hey, my next project is ready to show you, and I wanted to show you at this stage so you can see how I'm doing it. I'm into rescuing things from the thrift store, and okay, all kind of ideas came along. I'm sure you don't even need to know how this developed, but what I'm doing is hodgepodging these little rabbits. And I'll turn this one around so you can see him. And I'll tell you how this came about. If you watched any of my other videos, you know I'm living in with somebody for the time being, and almost all my supplies are in storage. So I'm just, I brought a few things here with me, but I'm mostly just picking up stuff at the thrift store, and it has been a good adventure because it forced me to go in different directions that I might not have ever gotten around to. So everything you're looking at here came from the thrift store. This piece of ticking, and this is flannel, and so I wanted to use it. Now, my original idea was to make this bunny and put him on some of those orphaned quilt blocks that I have found. And I had some, which I won't bother showing you right now because I'm going to include them in another video. But I wanted to mount him on an orphaned block, but he didn't show up very good. So what I ended up doing was I had found at the thrift store this gigantic little bag of flannels that were already cut up in pieces. I mean, there's just a ton of them. I used them on one small project, and I had them sitting around here, and I thought of a bunny to mount on a quilt block. Well, I made him up and then put him on the quilt block. I didn't like the way he showed up at all. So I got out this piece of ticking this morning and wet it down good and put it in the clothes dryer to shrink it because I've worked with ticking and canvas a lot and they tend to shrink. So he looks great on this background. Now it is a country folk art kind of look, which will go just perfect for what I want to do with him. And in my area, this is still a very sought after look. I don't know if I'll put him on Etsy and sell him or take him to a local craft shop or what. But while I was making him, I wanted to show you how I came about this process. So also at the thrift store, I found a huge roll of this. It wasn't marked, and I didn't know for sure what it was, but I think it was $1 for probably at least 8 yards, maybe 10. And I thought, oh, I have to find that. I have to have that. So I brought it home and snipped off a little piece and tested it. And at first I thought, well, it could be fusible, but it wasn't. So it's just a very thin foundation, which I love. I use so much of this in back of my projects because when I'm doing a lot of hand stitching, I don't want my thread to pull to the front as much as it can tend to do. I'm going to bring you down here just a little bit. Okay, so the first thing I did was went online, and I always cheat a little bit, and I just simply looked at some pictures of rabbits. So I sketched out these two, one going long ways and one kind of standing up. And I thought, okay, I'll do that. Maybe I'll make this into, it'll possibly be a table runner. So I laid a piece of this down, big piece, on top of my drawing and just simply traced it, and there I had my outline. So you will see on the back of this, here's my piece. Here's my rabbit. And I just started taking those little scraps of flannel and positioning them in somewhat of an order, but not much. All I knew was I wanted his ears and his feet to be darker, and I put them together. And then you can see my basting stitches are all still on here. After I had them on there, I made sure everything was basted in place, and then I did a fine running stitch all the way around my outline, right where I want the rabbit to actually be. And then cut it out about 1/4 of an inch away from the mark line because I'm going to applique him. But before I do that, what I did was do decorative embroidery stitches all around some of these pieces. Now, I apologize for my lighting. I have no idea. There's so much sunshine coming in here, but I don't know if it's fading out the color, making it better or worse. But anyways, he has decorative stitches where it's all joined, where everything is. The flannel I left raw edge because I don't care if it frays a little bit. And what I'll do is position him, and then I'll begin to applique. And if you've never done needle turned applique, there's lots of information out there online about it. I love needle turned applique because I love hand stitching. So right where I did my running stitch, that's where I'll turn it under. And I'll do the usual clip and snip wherever needed as I get there, but I won't do that too soon. Now, the first thing I'll do is baste him to the, well, the first thing I'll do is do this background on here because that needs to be stabilized and in place, and that because the rabbit goes over top of it. So I will needle turn that, and then I'll needle turn the bunny. And when I'm done with that, then I will probably do a surface stitch all the way around him just because it is flannel, and then in hopes he'll puff up a little bit. So that's my plan. That's the first one. Now here's one that's not as far along. This is the standing bunny, and you can see here what it looks like before I put my decorative stitches all along the intersections. And again, the back of it. And I've already stitched all the way around the shape right on the incline. And that'll stabilize it so that when I do turn it, you know, I'll have some control over that real soft floppy flannel. So there you have it, something out of nothing. 2 little rabbits, which will be very kind of country style, and I'll get you back out here so that you can get the whole scheme of it. And there he is. And I'll be showing him to you again when I get him all needle turned and finished. I'm also toying with the idea of putting a small, narrow quilt, kind of quilt binding edge or blocks along the edge, very primitive looking. And because he is so country and folk arty, I will probably stain him all over with coffee. And we'll see how it turns out. All right, something from nothing from the thrift store. Oh, it's so much fun. All right, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoy it, and come back again soon.